Which leads us to the walk over to the other side of the expansive Studio 9. I'm going to go hang around with my friend Steven Caldwell, the Scottish international, who called the game along with Luke Wildman. Buddy, I was listening to you call the game, and, you know, I know you pretty well. I don't know you that well, but I sense some anger in your voice. I sense that perhaps you were a little frustrated. And I think that, you know, Alistair Johnston said it best. You know, you got to almost bite your tongue. You have to give Mexico so much credit for the way they play, but it's tough. Yeah. It's tough to play a match like that against a team like that. They're sneaky.
They're sneaky. They play games. They have all the tricks. You know, They know how to. It's game management, you could call it, Jay. They know how to get through and to get to these finals and to win these finals. And if Canada want to be the best, or they want to, you know, strive to be the best in CONCACAF and compete on the world stage, they have to learn these tricks and understand that the very minute details that come into games like this. And yes, it's not always in your hands. They should have certainly had a penalty with a foul on Cornelius, but they did not find ways to break Mexico down and create the one or two chances that you need at this level to win.
Let's start with that opening goal of the match. What did you see there exactly? Was it truly the fault of Johnston with the throw-in? Was it not accurate enough?
What I didn't like about the throw-in was that he went inside a little bit. At the start of the game, you go down the line, you play the percentages, you build into the match, and the way that he went inside, I mean, it wasn't a huge error by any stretch of imagination, but it allowed Canada to be a bit open. And the flick from Raul Jimenez, who I'm sure we'll talk about as this interview goes on, was amazing. And these are little key details that open things up. Yes, they then get a bit of luck, and his finish is just the finish of a top-class striker, a guy who plays in the Premier League, who knows how to do it on the biggest stage. And his first touch sets him up. It's passing Clair as he's coming out. And, again, key moments. The first minute of the game, when you score a goal like that in under a minute, it gives you that energy and that belief that you can go on and win the game, and it's a mountain to climb in semi-finals when chances are few and far between.
And not to mention a very pro-Mexico crowd that's pushing them on. And yet, in the 9th minute, it looked like Canada was going to get a chance to even this up. What did you see on that penalty? I think everybody was bewildered by it.
Stonewall penalty, absolute certain penalty kick in my opinion. You know, the first time we saw it, we weren't sure who got to the ball first. When we saw the replays and you see that Cornelius gets the touch before Alvarez, it's how can this not be a penalty? You've got VAR to come in and assist the referee. He gets the touch, there's no contact on Alvarez by Cornelius. Then Alvarez comes through, there's absolutely contact on his boot. It has to be given. In the top leagues around the world, we see that given 99% of the time, 100% of the time. That is what happens now. That is a penalty kick in the modern game. And so when we saw the replays, we were just certain that VAR was going to give it, and Canada would have a penalty and a chance to draw level. And we were flabbergasted that it came so quick as well. They made the decision so quickly that wasn't a penalty and not a clear and obvious error. It was confusing, and Canada were on the wrong side of a refereeing decision or an officiating decision that would have got them back into the game, and who knows, probably would have changed the whole complexion of the match.
I heard at one point you and Luke discussing the fact that Dayne St, despite giving up the 2 goals, wasn't terribly busy. Do you agree now with Jesse Marsh's decision to go with Dayne St over Max Claypool? Do you think it's sort of a moot point? Would it have mattered at all in the end?
Well, I'll say that Dayne St will be disappointed, in my opinion, with the second goal, the free kick. I know it was a wonderful strike, but did he have his wall lined up right? It looked a little easy for Raul Jimenez to get it round that wall. I don't know if he could have saved this first one. It's brilliant from Jimenez. This one here, 30 yards, a free kick, sort of near side. He's got time to get over. I see the wall there. It's not... I mean, it's a lovely strike. I don't want to criticise him. You know, I'm not saying it's a huge goalkeeping error, but I think when he gets a hand to it as well, he'll be disappointed, knowing the high standards that he has. Would Crapo have saved it? We'll never know. I think Jesse Marsh was right to go with Dayne St. He's a goalkeeper on form. I don't think he cost Canada the game, but I do think with that second goal, he'll probably look at it back and feel like he could have done better.
Did a lack of offense in the end just cost Canada the game? How concerning is it that Canada wasn't able to generate much offense?
I think it is pretty concerning, Jay, because it's the same theme as we see in these really big games, these really tight games. It's not exactly the offence as such. You can't blame a player or the front two or the wide guys. It's almost like an accumulation of the effort, the team effort to break down teams like this, resolute teams, quality teams, teams that maybe sit in a deeper shape at international football. You don't get a lot of opportunities at this level to transition. So you have to break teams down and you have to find moments where the key player makes a key pass or the striker finds composure to make that last decision right at the vital moment. And Canada struggle to do that. So that's going to be a concern for Jesse Marsch moving forward. How do they find a way to break down these teams, and how do they find a way to take one or two key moments that put them in the ascendancy and allow them to then sit back and maybe absorb some pressure? That is something that I think needs to improve if Canada want to get to knockout stages of a World Cup next summer in their home country.
Stephen and Luke will be calling the Canada-USA semi-final, or rather third-place match, and then, of course, the Panama-Mexico final on Sunday right here on TSN.